Hello everybody, here we are today continuing on with our season preview series as we're going to be talking about the Los Angeles Kings. Now before we start, please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're to me or new to the channel. Anyway, that being said, let's get on into it. So the first thing here is going to be whether or not Pierre-Luc Dubois can become a top end center. Now PLD obviously has been able to showcase his talent in Columbus and Winnipeg, but at the same time also wanted out of Columbus and Winnipeg. So right now we have a guy that is young and has been a good player, but also has kind of been a talking point for his inability to stay in one place for an extended period of time. And that's kind of interesting because, well, the Kings just signed him to an 8-year extension. He obviously is a talented forward, and I do think is a top 2 center for his new side. However, it remains to be seen, can he stay content with this team but also be able to stay more disciplined? I saw recently, I don't remember where it was, I'm not trying to bash them, but they were proud of the fact that he racked up so many penalty minutes for centers over the past few seasons. My opinion is this: you want to be able to have a guy that doesn't take penalties. I know that's crazy, but yes, there are physical aspects of the game and you have to stand up for yourself. But if you're taking a bunch of penalties, if you're in the box, I don't see that as a good thing for Dubois. I really just think that he really has to stay out on the ice and score goals for this team. This is a club that hasn't had a true superstar in quite some time offensively. And while I'm certainly not saying that PLD is up there with a guy like Connor McDavid or anything, he has been a reliable goal scorer. Has scored 30 plus goals, I think twice in his career at this point, and is a player that has had back-to-back 60 plus point seasons. I don't know what you're going to be getting in terms of point totals, but I will say this: he's been able to produce offensively in Columbus and in Winnipeg. So I think in LA that is going to be a team that he's not going to have a problem with. And for me, I look at what he did against Toronto where he had that hat trick. I'm not saying that that is the norm, but being able to have a top 2 center that could do something like that in the playoffs where the Kings could use some timely goals if they're being knocked out in the first round would be absolutely excellent. And then also, too, I think he is seen as the long-term replacement, hopefully, for Anze Kopitar, who just signed a 2-year extension. Kind of good. Obviously, they have Philip No in their third-line center, and then Quentin Byfield is going to be out on the wing, projected to be. But that would give Byfield a little bit more time to develop. Maybe he could be thrust into a third-line center role when Kopitar retires, or maybe he develops into a second-line center and Dano stays third or out on the wing. I really can't tell you, but I will say for PLD, having the ability to go in there and score 30 goals would be great for his new side, as he got a hefty extension and needs to go out there and play well. The second thing is, what are the Kings going to be able to do without Joonas Korpisalo? Now, the Kings have had a really weird history lately where they've posted good defensive metrics, but they're allowing a lot of goals, or their goalies post bad stats. And they ended up actually trading Jonathan Quick, who was a long-time winner for them, winning 2 Stanley Cups for the team, put that team on his back in 2012. However, there just wasn't a lot going right for him and the team. They ended up trading to get Vladislav Gavrikov and Joonas Korpisalo from the Blue Jackets. Gavrikov stays. He signs a 1 or 2 year extension, I think. And Korpisalo chases the bag for Ottawa, leaving them now with a situation where they really have a lot of questions in net. You're looking at a guy like Cam Talbot, obviously a veteran in the league that has seen a lot of action, and then Phoenix Copley, who had just 26 starts, I think, prior to this last season. So he's 31 years old. He hasn't got a lot of NHL opportunities. If things continue to go poorly with the situation in net, can you reliably trust Cam Talbot to be the guy for you? I don't know. And I think for this team, the fact that they're able to have good defensive metrics is going to be the key here. They have to have those guys like Gavrikov and some of their other top-end blue liners play well. This is a group that also has Kopitar, that has been a Selke contender for a while. I think Pierre-Luc Dubois is not a terrible defensive center by any means. This is going to have to be a team effort because, again, veteran and a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience. We will have to see what happens here, but without Corby, I do think there could be some growing pains in between the pipes, but hopefully not too much for the Kings. The third talking point here is, could the offense be a problem? Last year, they finished 10th in the league for goals for per 60, which is a good thing. However, they were 19th in the league for expected goals for per 60. Now, I know a lot of you will say, oh, that's boring, Statner. That has nothing to be relevant here. The reality is, though, that is something that we have tracked and we've been able to see results like that. If you would see a slide, maybe it's because they were outperforming their expectations last season. And I think for this, not Oilers Kings side, a big thing that helped them out was their power play. They were like 4th in the league for power play percentage. 25% of their goals came on the man advantage. let's say that slicks a little bit, it slides back, and they are struggling to find goals. That could be a problem for them, again, considering that they might have a situation in net where things are not going well. However, I will say that they have some guys that I would look out for here that really have to drive offense. Kevin Fiala is one of those. Obviously came over from Minnesota, and I think is an underrated guy that ended up finishing second on the team for points in 69 games played. So if you get a full season from him, maybe he is the point leader and is a guy that really drives things up the ice. A lot of high danger passes, a lot of zone entry, stuff like that. And for him, I think we could see another year where he looks good and people start to recognize it a little more. As for another guy, I've already talked about Pierre-Luc Dubois. He is going to have to score 25, 30 goals. He's going to have to be a consistent scorer for them because he is the guy. I mean, you get $65, $66 million, whatever it is, over this 8 years. You have to be able to perform. Other guys, Andre Kempa, he ended up having a really high goal total last year. If he slides back, that could be a problem for them. I don't want to rely on Kopitar, who's a little bit older here, and I do worry a bit about some other guys stepping up. I don't see Dano being a guy that's going to go out there and give you 30 goals or anything like that at this point. However, this is probably going to have to be a team effort because, again, there's no real superstars here. There are good players, but not a McDavid-led player. So if the offense sputters, the Kings may struggle to perform. So what do I think for LA this season? What do I think they're going to be? Well, Jay Fresh, his model basically has them finishing with 86 points on the year. I don't know if that's going to be accurate. Again, I think a lot of questions will rest in between the pipes and how their goalies do. And I think for the Kings, they really are going to have to be able to perform well within their division while also going out and having some guys step up that maybe aren't there yet. I know Quentin Byfield's probably going to get some time out on the wing, and he hasn't really performed up to expectations yet, but some of these Kings prospects aren't living up to the hype, and I just hope that they aren't bust, because if so, this Kings rebuild really could be stunted here by everything they've done. I will say this, I do think this is a good roster, and I do think that they should at least be in the wild card hunt. Top 3 in the division, I look at Vegas and probably Edmonton as locks. Right now, I would say Seattle, Calgary, and Edmonton are all kind of in the hunt for the 3rd spot, so you have to be able to play well against those two. Not hard to get up for a divisional game, especially a rivalry game against the Flames, and I think for the moment, the Kings are there for me to say they're probably going to be in the playoff hunt, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them being a playoff team. For now, though, we will see. What are your thoughts on the Kings going into the season? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new. Everybody, stay safe, have a great night, and you go with hockey, alright? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.